So in this demonstration, we are going to understand how to parse JSON output using JSON format plugin in Android Studio. To do this, we have an application here. We have to get started with an application in Android Studio. So I'm going to write a client application who's going to connect to our web service file, parse the output, and will display output in our application. So I'm going to create an application and I'm going to call this application as consume JSON. So this application will consume JSON. Let's click on next. It will be running on Gingerbread and above. I'll go with an empty activity at the moment. Let's click on finish. By the time our application gets created, we'll go to browser and we are going to check our server file. So our server is itchkey.com/ name of the file is project1.php, and if we provide him a name, let's say Devanshu, we are going to get an output. So the name has to be in capitals, uppercase, let's say Devanshu. So depending on the code, this is the output. Now what we will do, we have to consume this output in our Android application project. So let's proceed to our Android application project. So the project is ready. Now let's go to the design view and we are going to design our application. To design our application, what we will do, we are going to create one edit text. Within the edit text, we are going to give a name. That name we will concatenate with our get request. Get request will be sent to my server. At the server side, my project1.php will respond me. I'm going to receive the response. I'm going to parse the response with JSON format. Then I'm going to display my data on a toast or on a text view at a moment. Okay. So let's just design our application. So what we'll do, we are going to take an edit text from here, and within the edit text, we are going to provide our name. The name will be Devanshu for this demo. Here what we have to do is, we are going to change the text value and we want to put a hint on this control. We can set the hint here. Within this, we are going to enter name. Let's say I'm going to put the width of this edit text control to match parent so that it takes the complete width with respect to our relative layout. I'm going to change this hello world to something like consume JSON demo. Now what am I going to do? I'm going to have a button control at the bottom. And we are going to change the text of this button control to get information. Get information. Now what we have to do, as soon as we click on this button control, a get request will be sent to server. Thus the server is listening here. So a get request will be received on itchkey.com on project1.php. We are going to receive a response. The response will be received in our application and we are going to display that response on a text view at the moment. Okay. Whatever response we will get, we are going to display that on a text view for this demonstration. Now, so what next we are going to do? Let's just do that. Now, we are going to change this. We have the following IDs. We have an edit text in which we will take name. We have a button control and we have a text view control. So now we are going to refer these control in our Java, and then we are going to perform event handling, and within the event handler, we are going to write a business logic using which we will connect with JSON, connect with web service, we will get the JSON output, and we are going to display output in our application. So here we switch to our main activity. Within this main activity, we are going to create global variables for edit text. Let's call it as ET1. I'm going to have a button control. I'm going to call it as BT1. And finally, I'm going to have a text view control, and I'm going to call it as TV1. So these will be the following three controls which I will be using in my application. Now I'm going to find my view controls by their IDs, and I'm going to provide the ID of r.id.edit text. This will be the first ID. We're going to store that. We're going to typecast that into edit text, and we are going to store that into ET1. In the same way, we are going to find view control by its ID. We are going to take the ID button control. I'm going to typecast that into button, and we are going to store that into BT1 control. And finally, we are going to have our third control, and this is my text view 2. I'm going to refer this control, I'm going to convert that into text view, and I'm going to store that into my TV1. So we have got these three references done, and now we have to perform event handling. So on the event handler, we are going to set an on-click listener. We have to create an on-click listener within our application. Before that, we are going to auto-import the following controls: edit text, button, and text view control. And finally, I'm going to we're going to create a new instance of on-click listener. So we'll create a new instance of on-click listener. Let's just remove the dialog listener. That's on-click listener. We have to create the new instance of an on-click listener here. We have to change this to click listener. We'll import the button class, we'll import the text view class. These are creating problems here. And now we have an on-click listener on the button control. And now I'm going to create new instance of my on-click listener. Now once we create the new instance of this on-click listener, a void on-click method will be overridden, and we will be able to write our business logic here. Close this, and now what we have to do is we have to write our business logic within our on-click method here. So we'll write our business logic, and within this business logic what we have to do is we have to connect to a URL. We're going to get output, we have to take the output, we have to read the output, we have to parse the output, then we have to display the output. This is what we have to do. Okay. Now what we are going to do. So for this, the very first thing we have to do is, let's say we'll take a URL is equal to, what we can do is, let's say we are going to create a new URL. Okay, let's add alt enter and import the URL, and now we are going to specify the URL here. So the URL is, we are going to connect to http www.itchkey.com/project1.php. We are going to connect to this, and we are going to provide a name. This name will be a value which we are going to take from edit text. So we are going to create a string name here, string name, and we are going to get the name from edit text 1. We are going to get the text from edit text 1. we are going to convert it into string, and once we get the string, we are going to display this name, or you can say we are going to concatenate the name with my URL. Okay. Now, so what I've just got here, I've created a new URL, and now what I have to do is I have to handle malformed exception, so that if in case if the URL is malformed, then we are going to get an exception and our application won't force close. Okay. Now, so we have got the new URL. Now from the URL, what we can do is we're going to open connection to the URL. It's going to return a URL connection to us, and on this connection we have to read the data from there. Let's say in case you can go to get content, there are many options here. There is one option known as input stream. Okay, so we are going to, because we know we have a text there, we are going to read the text, and that we can do with input stream. Okay, we can read input stream with an input stream reader, and then we can convert it into a buffered reader, and we can parse that buffered reader using parsers. So we are going to execute this method get input stream, using which what we will get, we'll get an input stream. Okay. Now what we have to do, we are going to add a catch clause for input output exception. And what next we need to do, once we have got this input stream, I'm going to store that input stream into, let's say, my stream. Okay, I've got the stream here. I'm going to import my input stream class. Clear? Now what I want to read this stream using an input stream reader. So let's say I'll do something like this. I'm going to read that with buffered reader actually. Buffered reader. Let's call this BR. It's an object of buffered reader. We're going to create a new instance of buffered reader. Okay. With this buffered reader, what you can do is, if I explain you here, buffered reader can read data from an input stream reader only. Okay. So now what we have to do is, we have to pass an instance of input stream reader here. Clear? So we are going to create a new input stream reader. Okay. We are going to create a new instance of input stream reader, and within this input stream reader, we are going to provide the stream from where we want to read. So we are going to provide the stream which we have just got above from the URL. Okay. So what exactly we have here is, we have created an instance of buffered reader who's going to get the text content from this URL. Okay, using help of stream read with the input stream reader and converted into an object of buffered reader. Now what we can do is, using this buffered reader, we can read the text line by line, however I want to do it. So I am going to do something like this. The first thing is, I want to get two things. One will be my result, second will be my data. Okay. Why I have taken these two elements, I'll just show you. Okay. So what I want, I'm going to create a while loop. Okay. So I'm going to read all the lines which are coming from the server. Okay. It could be possible that the output which we have received here may have multiple number of lines. So we are going to read every individual line. Okay. This we can do it using somewhat like this, while let's say we are going to store that into data. Let's say data is equal to br dot read line. We are going to read line by line. Okay. We are going to execute the method read line. Clear? And I'm going to check until and unless it is null, because in the while we have to give true or false. Okay. So we have taken read line, and we'll check until and unless you execute this read line and data is not equal to null. Clear? till the last line of the output we are going to read, okay, and we are going to add the data to result. So result is equal to result plus data plus slash n in case if you have a new line, okay, and we have to initialize result as null because at the very first execution result will be empty. Clear? So now we are going to read the data again and again and we are going to get that. Here what I want to display a toast. So I'm going to display a toast and I'll show you result first, what result we are getting. So we'll do it something like this: toast dot make text get application context, and we are going to display result and we are going to print that for long duration. Okay, so we are going to do it something like this. So at the moment I have just got data from the server and I am going to display it. I have not parsed it yet. We have to perform JSON parsing. Till the moment we have connected to server and we have got the output, but we have not parsed it properly. So what we'll do, let's just save it, and now we are going to application. We're connected with USB. Let's just turn on the USB. We'll just get that connected. By the time USB gets mounted, we'll move to the application directory here, within my C drive, within my consume JSON. We're going to get the app from here. Let's just rename it to somewhat like more meaningful, consume.apk. Copy, paste that to your device. And the application has been pasted to the device. So we'll go to device, turn off USB storage. Then we'll go to file manager menu. Within file manager, we'll go to phone memory, and within phone memory we'll go to the bottom, and here we are going to get our application consume.apk. Let's run consume.apk, install consume.apk. Let's install, and there is one more thing we have to do here. The one thing we forgot to do is we have to provide permissions for internet. Only then we'll be able to connect to the server, which is hkey.com. Okay, at this moment if I click here, we can land into exception. Okay, so what we have to do is, let's just go to manifest file here. We can go to android manifest.xml and we have to provide internet permission. So to do this, what we have to do, we have to do users permission. Okay, and we have to provide the name, and the permission which we need is for internet. So let's just give the permission, we'll save it, and then we have to test it. Testing this application will take a long time during this process. So before doing this, let me do one thing. Let's just get started with the parsing, then we are going to export in one go, and then we are going to test it on the device. So now what we need is, we need to create an object of JSON. Okay, to use this JSON, we need to have library project of this JSON. JSON is not an Android SDK part. JSON is a third-party library which we have to consume using Gradle. Okay, so this is what I was talking about, the importance of Gradle which we have to perform. So what we have to do within this, now in order to use JSON in our project, we have to go to the browser And from here, we are going to get a library from the website gradleplease.appspot.com. Okay. The library which we are going to use is JSON library. JSON is Google JSON library. Okay. So we have to take this name of the class, or you can say the package, from where we are going to import JSON, and then we will be able to use JSON in our project. Okay. So we'll go to Gradle. Let's open Gradle module app. We'll go at the bottom, and within dependencies, now we have to paste this JSON package. With this, what will happen? Gradle will connect to central Gradle repository. In the Gradle repository, he will search for this package. Within this package, whatever library codes are there, they will be downloaded and will be included in our application project. Okay. This we can see that later as well, where they are downloaded. So now what we have to do, let's simply click on sync now. So once we started syncing, a connection will be made to the server, and library project from this package org.immutables for our JSON will be downloaded in our project. We will be able to view the downloaded library project within the project section here. We can simply move to project structure, and within the project, within external libraries, later we are going to get the information about immutables which have been included. So at the moment you can see that we only have Android API 23, but later once the Gradle finishes its work, we will get our org.immutables listed here. Okay. So we will get the library for JSON, and then we will be able to use JSON class in our project. We have got all these libraries. We have got this JSON 2.4.2. This we have asked for. And within this JSON 2.4.2, you can see that this is the package org.immutables.json, which we included. And within this, we have a class known as JSON. We're going to use this class in our project. Okay. This is the interface wherein some methods are pre-declared, and we are going to use some important methods from this. Clear? So now let's do that. So what we have to do, we'll go to our main activity, and now we have to use JSON in our project. What JSON will do, JSON will help us convert this result into a JSON format. To do this, what we'll do, we are going to create an object of JSON here, and let's call it as new JSON. Okay, we've got the object for JSON. We have to import this, and we can automatically import now because we have that external library project. Now using this JSON object, there is a method known as from JSON. Okay. From JSON, what we can do is, this is the method. Okay. So what we can do is, here are various methods in which what we are going to do, we are going to get results from the buffered reader result. We are going to give this result to a parser. Parser will parse the data, and then we will be able to consume the results back. Okay, clear? Now, so whatever type of parser we will use, we will get an object of that class type, and then we will be able to use objects of that class, and using those objects we'll be able to get email, mobile, and whatever data we want. So now, before executing this line, I would like to create a parser first. Okay, now, so how to create a parser, we are going to understand. To create a parser, what we need, within our project, we are going to create a new class, and this class will be known as parser, which will parse our JSON response. To do this, we'll go to app. Within Java, within our package, we are going to create a new class. Let's create a new Java class, and we are going to give this class a name, let's say parser. Okay, or I can also call it as JSON parser. Clear? I have clicked OK, and now I'll get a blank class known as JSON parser. How do we create parser is a very simple task. we can create parsers using a tool known as JSON format, which we have installed in the last session. So what we are going to do now, we will right click within the class, then we go to this option generate. We click on generate, and using this generate, we are going to use the plugin JSON format, which we have downloaded using Android Studio Super plugin. Clear? Let's use JSON format. And now what we have to do, we have to paste the JSON data here, and then automatically we will get the objects and a parser will be ready. So what we'll do, let's just go to our hkey.com. I'm going to copy the results from here, right click, copy, and I'm going to paste that results using Control V command in this application here in JSON format. As soon as I do OK, now you can see that JSON format has read the result and has got some keys. The first key is result, which will be considered as a data type, and the data type created will be known as result entity. Second, we'll have an email key. Email has a value, it is of string type. Okay. Then we have a mobile, it's a value, it's of string type. Then we have a profile pic, it's a value, it's of string type. Clear? So now what I got, I get the following keys, and these following field names will be created. Clear? Now let's click on OK. So now once we click on OK, we can see that here within our JSON parser, automatically JSON format has created a parser class for us. Okay. So now whatever result we will receive here, we are going to give this result to our JSON parser. Result will be received here, and automatically the result will be parsed, and categories like your email, mobile and profile picture will be identified. They will be identified and set using this set methods. You will be able to get data using the get methods created here. Clear? Now, so we have got a parser ready. Now what we have to do, we have to send the result which we have just got from the connection here. We are going to give this result JSON.FromJSON. We are going to give this result to our JSON parser dot class. Okay. Clear? Now what we have to do is we have to change the name from JSON to from JSON. Now what you will get a result, or you can say you are going to get the data. Let's say not data, let's just call it as response. Clear? Let's say it's our response, JSON response. Okay. So this response I'm going to create, and it will be created with the class type. Okay. So I'm creating a local variable, and now you can see that response with the class type JSON parser has been created. Okay. So this type of response depends on the class which you have created for your parser. Now, so once we have got this information, now what next we need to do, we have got the response, and then from this response we can get the details. So what we can do response.getResult, which is going to give us result entity. Okay. So once you have got the result, you can store that into result entity. Okay. And we can create a class with the name result entity. We are going to create a local variable. So result entity has been created. Now what we'll do, from this result entity, we will be able to get our email, mobile and whatever we want. So what will be done, let's say we are going to use result entity. Okay. Using this result entity, we can get the email, we can get mobile, and we can get profile picture. Clear? Okay. So what we can do is, let's say we can have 3 text views, and within those 3 text views we can display data. Clear? So in the first text view, let's say I would like to display my name, that is my TV1. So I'll do it something like this, tv1.setText. Okay. And within this tv1.setText, what I want to do, set a text, and this text will be something like my result entity dot get name. Okay, let's say get email. Then I would like to, let's say I am going to add three values here. I am going to use, let's say, comma. I am going to add another value, and this will be my result entity dot get, let's say, mobile. I am going to get the mobile number as well. Clear? Then I am going to add a plus statement here. Then I am going to use a comma, and then I am going to get my another entity, and that is my result entity dot get image. Clear? Let's say I don't want to display image in, it's get profile pic. Okay, get profile pic. So let's say we have got these information here. If we want to display image on an image view, we can do that as well. Okay. So what we can do is we can take an image view object, and within that image view we can display the image using Picasa or something. Picasa is the third party library which we can use for displaying image. So therein we don't need to convert this byte array and something. We can directly take a URL, and from the URL we can display an image. Clear? Let's see. So now what we'll do, let's just save it. First we'll test this demo. So once we have saved this, now we like to build this application and would like to test that on our device first. So let's generate the signed APK again, ABCD12345. We are going to provide in the password ABCD12345. Let's go next. Finish your app. So we'll go to our application. Let's start VNC viewer first so that we can test our application on the device. Let's just connect. Now we are going to turn on USB storage. Let's rename it to consume1.apk. Let's copy that consume1. We're going to paste that in our device. Now we'll go here, turn off the USB storage, go to file manager, open phone memory, go to application consume1. So we'll open application consume1.apk. We are going to verify the package installer. We are going to replace the previous application. This time it is asking for internet permissions. Full internet access is required. We'll click install. So once the installation begins, application will be installed. And now we can open the application. Once the application is open, now you can see that at the moment it is empty. Then what we can do is we can specify the name Devanshu. Okay, we can click on get information and connection will be made to server. So at this moment we can display one progress bar. So you can see that at the bottom we have got the complete JSON result, but it was with braces and all, and here we have consumed the data from the server. So now data is being displayed here. So at this moment we can do one more thing. During this process, till the time we are progressing here, we can set up a progress bar also. To set up a progress bar, it is very simple. You can create a progress dialog. Let's call it as PD1. Okay. Using this progress dialog, you can create an instance of a progress dialog here. Let's import progress dialog. And once we have imported the progress dialog, so we'll click here, we'll auto import progress dialog. We'll reach to the code here, and here we can create new progress dialog. We can create PD1 is equal to new progress dialog, and we can specify the context wherein the progress dialog will be displayed. Then we can set a title on the progress dialog. Let's say we are going to set the title as JSON app. Let's call it as JSON app, something like this. And now we are going to set a message, pd1.set message, and we are going to display a message something like this, connecting to server, please wait, something like this. And then what we can do is we can do something like pd1.show. So using this, progress dialog will be displayed, and once we are done with this progress dialog part, what we can do is, once we have got and set the results, we can do pd1.dismiss. So now here your pd1 will be dismissed. So this is your application wherein you can display your progress dialog as well. So let's just test the application again on the device. I'm going to compile that again. Due to ADB debugging issues, I have to test it like this. Let's click. We're going to install the application again. Let's just connect that with USB storage quickly. Now using USB storage, I'm going to paste my application from the directory. C consume JSON from the app. Now this time I have created my third app. Let me just rename that to consume2.apk. Let's just copy it. Go to removable device wherein your device is mounted. Paste your consume2.apk. Turn the USB storage off. Go to your file manager. Go to file manager. Within file manager, go to phone memory. Then go to your application consume2. Install consume2. With the package installer, replace the earlier application. Allow access. Install. Now as soon as the application will be installed, this time we are going to get the progress dialog as well. So we have opened the application. Okay, so by default, let's say I would have started it before this PD1, but unfortunately I have started that in on create, so it is being displayed here, PD1. So we can do this PD1.show within our on click method. So as soon as we will click on the button, this progress dialog bar will display. Clear? Now, so let's just ignore that for a moment. Let's say now this is how your progress dialog will work. So it will be like processing and connecting, and until and unless it gets connected to the server and we get the response, it won't close. So now let me just ignore that. Okay, so I've just ignored that. Now what I want is, I'll go to file manager, let me just change the code and I'll let you know how the code works. So it's better to take your pd1.show here and put that in your on-click method. So this will work fine. Okay, so once you click on the button, your pd1.show will work, and once this complete process is done, you will be able to dismiss the code. Now, so what next we have to do, let's say we'll just modify the code of our code here, project.this file. We can go to code editor, and this time in the code editor, let's say if I modify some values and then I'm going to consume JSON. Let's say this is our code for the application. Let's say I'm going to change the mobile number from 9654825302 to, let's say 1234567891, something like this. I'm going to save the changes. Okay, I'll go to my application. If I provide the key Devanshu, and if I get information, so this time you can see that I'll get admin@hackweather.in and I've got the numbers changed. Okay, let's say if I change the key here, let's say I'm going to change the key to Salman. I've just saved it. I'll go to this application here. Okay, and let's say I have changed the email to, let's say, Salman on the server. Okay, so I've changed the code at the server side. I'll go to my application. I'm going to change that to Salman, and at the moment the earlier value was admin@hackweather.in. Now if I get the fresh information, just clicked. Once I have clicked on it, I'll get the latest information from the server. And once the value gets updated, we'll get Salman@hackweather.in something. So for this we have just created that progress dialog. So in order to test that dialog, we have to compile that again and we have to test the device again. So I think I have to save the changes. I'll just save the changes. You just get the information again, and this time you can see that it's Salman@hackweather.in. Clear? So I hope the concept is clear, how our Android application is connected to server. We can send a parameter from our application to a server. Depending on the parameter, it can perform some task. After the task, it can return an output. We can receive the output. We can convert output into JSON. Then we can get values with respect to keys from our JSON response, and then we can display it on our application. So this is how JSON parsing is done, and the next will proceed in the next session.